So today I'm going to do another story time, soft-spoken with some gum chewing, maybe some gum snapping, popping if it happens, but mostly just going to be gum chewing while I tell another story. This time it's a little different flavor, polar ice. So I'm going to get a couple of pieces of this ready, and then we'll get going. Hope everybody's doing well. I haven't had this flavor in a while because I had been kind of on the spearmint kick. But this is the flavor that my husband and I used to always get, so I went back to it today. I also got some bubble gum to do for a video soon because some people have been requesting some more videos with no talking and like just chewing gum and popping gum or blowing bubbles. So I decided to get some bubble gum for that, even though I literally cannot remember the last time I chewed a piece of true bubble gum with all the sugar and all the stuff. Because I've told y'all that I'll try to stick to sugar-free gum just because like sugary gum hurts my teeth, but I figured if I just do kind of like a shorter video with no talking, then I'll be fine. So I was thinking of another story, and I don't know why. I guess telling that story about being stranded in Milan, Italy, got me thinking about other like adventurous things that have happened to me, but also kind of like scary things. And so I decided to tell a story from this time that I was traveling in Africa, which was also when I was in college. I spent one summer in Africa living with some missionaries. I guess we stayed with them for about 6 weeks, so it wasn't the entire summer, but a large part of the summer. A group of us went and stayed with these two families, and the purpose of the trip was to kind of like just get a feel for what it would be like to live in like rural Africa, and what that would look like for your life, especially if you wanted to go be a missionary. They had families, children and stuff, so it was really neat to kind of get a feel for what that would be like. Call it like an internship, so that you can just get a small glimpse of like living life with these people, which was amazing. And we had like language classes, where we just met with this local guy each week and practiced, went around the village and talked to people. And so another part of that experience was that we would go on little trips during our time there to do different things. So like one time we took a trip like into the mountains to meet with like the chiefs of other villages that we didn't know, or like that they didn't know. and introduce ourselves and talk about the work they were doing, and what that might look like to be engaged with them in the future and stuff like that. Like just different little trips. And it was so cool to just visit different tribes and see what life was like. And we took this one trip, and I'm thinking back, and I'm pretty sure it was just a day trip. I don't think we actually like camped somewhere this time. We often did. If we went on like an overnight trip, we would just take a tent and camp in a village or something. But this time, pretty sure we just went for the day. I can't remember how far of a drive it was, but we went into this village that we'd never been to before because they needed help building a church. And so we spent the day, like, some of the people, I didn't do this, but some of the people would go get water from the river, load up a ton of water in like these water tanks, and bring it back to the site. And the village people had already built a structure out of like bamboo. I'm trying to think of that, like, yeah, bamboo sticks. Like they had built this kind of like structure, and what we were doing is helping haul, because you know they didn't have any cars. It was not easy for them to get a ton of water from the river and bring it to that site. So the missionary we were with had a truck, and some of the guys would go load up these tanks with water from the river, bring it back to the site. And we had hauled a bunch of like dirt over. That may have already been done when we got there as well. I can't remember, but they would bring the water, and we would buy the bucket full. We would take the water, and we had created like a pit, and we would mix the water with the dirt and step in it, like, and make mud. So we would just mix it kind of like with our feet. We would just like step in it, make a bunch of mud. And, you know, we're all wearing like skirts. All the women are wearing skirts because that's what's like culturally acceptable. So it's just funny. I mean, we were covered in mud. All of our clothes were covered in mud. And what we would do is then like fill buckets with that mud, take it over to the structure that they had built, and fill in all the empty spaces with mud, and kind of like press it together to where it would dry in this bamboo structure and be like essentially a building. And so for hours and like it was so precious because we had come out to do this for these people, but like all of the village children came out and helped us all day, and they loved it. It was so fun to just do that with them, like make the mud and carry it over, and they would bring the buckets and help us build the church. And so we did. I mean, that day we got the whole structure that, you know, where we could reach, which it wasn't very tall, filled with mud. So, you know, the hope is going to be that it all dries really well. They can continue to add to it, and they have that church. It was so much fun and such a cool experience to just be part of something like that. So when we got done, I'm trying to remember the sequence of events that led us all down to the river. I think we were going to take a load back to the river, or we were going to maybe fill up the water one more time and take it back for them before we left. So we all go down. So there's like a group of us, like college age kids. And we got down to the river, and while like the guy we were with was kind of wrapping up with the village leaders, like taking care of stuff, we were just like down by the river, and we were like, oh my word, we're so hot. Like, we've been doing this all day. We're disgusting. We have mud all over us. Like, let's get in the river and rinse off and like get all this mud off of us and like take a break for a second before we go back. And so, oh, it was amazing. And there was a current in the river. So like now this would scare me because I'm just much more cautious now. So like there being kind of like a current, a little bit of a current in certain places is a little bit scary because you don't have control. You're never going to win against nature, you know. Anyway, I had no fear. And we got in, and we were all, maybe like 6 of us, just playing in the water, and it was so much fun. And as we started to notice that a lot of the village people started to come down to the river and watch us, which was not like super uncommon to like gather a crowd of just observers, because you know, we're these white foreign people that they, like, some of them have never seen, and they're intrigued by this group of people. So you often are going to get stared at. So we weren't really thinking much of it. We were just swimming and having a good time, playing in the water, you know, kind of like riding the current a little bit and then trying to get out of the current and come back up like the river a little bit. And we did this for a while. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, you know, like 20 minutes maybe. And eventually we saw kind of like our leader, the missionary we were with, he started walking toward the river, you know, and we saw him. He had been wrapping up. So, you know, we're thinking like, you know, soon we'll come out and go back. But he was so calm. And in hindsight, I don't know how he was so calm, because I'm like, that's just not my personality when it comes to like panicking moments. But he just very calmly was waving his hand at us to like, come on, come out. Just very calmly and collected. He was like, you know, come on, you need to get out. And so we were like, okay, you know, and we started making our way out of the river very calmly, which was good. It was good that he was so calm. That's what you need. But he said, listen, all of these people have gathered around you, around this river, to see what magic these white people have to get away from, to keep the crocodiles away. And we're like, what? And he was like, yeah, they don't get in this river. They wade very, like, on the very outskirts where they can still see to, like, wash their clothes and things. But they don't get in this river, so they're confused. Like, they're wondering why, like, what magic you have that you can swim with the crocodiles. And I cannot explain to you. I mean, now it even hits me in a whole different way, because that's just so terrifying. But then, I mean, it was like I felt like I had like a brush with death. And we just like were horrified. We looked back out at the river, And we were like, I can't believe we just did that. And what kind of idiots were we anyway? Like, it makes total sense that there were crocodiles in that river. But it didn't even cross my mind. Like, all I was thinking of at the time was just like, we're so hot, we're so dirty, let's get in the river. No wonder all of those people were looking at us like we were crazy, but also they were so intrigued. Like, what are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this alive? I mean, anytime I remember that story, it's like equal parts horrified and equal parts like grateful that nothing horrible happened, but how close, like how easily something could have happened. And also, every time I remember that story, I'm shocked by how calm that guy was to just like calmly wave us out of the water. Because I am not the person you want around if I realize you're swimming with crocodiles. I'm going to freak you out so bad that you're probably going to end up drawing more attention to yourself. Because, like, just to give some perspective, I was at a river this summer in the States, in America, and this guy came over to us and said, it was my husband and I were out, like, in floats off of this dock. And he came up to us and he was like, hey, I just wanted you guys to know that there has been a gator sighting, you know, off a ways. And they've called people and they're out here looking for it. And we were like, are you serious? Because it was not a place that I would have expected there to be alligators. And he was like, you know, he said, you never know. Like, some people will see a log floating in the water and they're just so sure that it's an alligator. But he was like, it is possible. So just kind of be on the lookout. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I still was like on a float in the water, but I was terrified the entire time. And then a couple weeks later, my friends and I came to that same river. And I told them, because I was like, we just need to kind of be on the lookout for this. And the whole time we're at the river, I'm just like periodically like staring out into the water, looking to see if there's an alligator, you know. And that's probably what has dredged up this story of the crocodiles, because it's in my mind because of what happened this summer. And with some of those same friends, we went to see that movie where the crawdads sing, and that is one of my favorite books that I've ever read. It was such a good book. And so when they made a movie, I was like, I don't go to the movies very often, especially now that I have a child. It just doesn't really happen. But I made a way to go see that movie because I was like, it was just so good. And the movie was very well done, in my opinion. But in one of the opening scenes, it's like in a swamp, you know, most of the story takes place in the swamp. In one of the opening scenes, it showed, you know, these little, or not little, but these gators like lurking in the swamp. And I was just like horrified thinking about this summer, and then also years and years ago when I was swimming with crocodiles. I didn't know it at the time, or I would not have done it. How horrifying. I mean, I'm so thankful nothing happened, but And you also think, why, like, at the time, like, why weren't those people trying to wave us out of the water? But they truly just thought we knew. They truly thought we knew, and we had some way to protect ourselves. So they were just watching. Oh my. Scary. But that's my story of the day. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'm going to keep thinking of some crazy stories to add to this channel, because a lot of you, I think, enjoy story times like I do. It's just nice. Like, I don't know. I was trying to explain it to my husband because he does not listen to ASMR videos, and I asked him, I was like, what could I do for a story time? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like a story from my life. And he was like, why? And I was like, I find it relaxing to listen to people talk about like something that has happened in their life. But it's funny to explain to someone. Okay, I'll see you guys soon.